Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, brother.
All right, wonderful. So as per my understanding, we are revising the Murli of the 22nd of July, 1972, a Murli that created a lot of discussion, I guess, in your previous session. And it does deserve a lot more attention. And it's not a bad idea to revise it again. And so today is the day, I guess, that we're revising. So I guess each one of you had the opportunity to listen to this Murli at least once, maybe read it a few more times. And I too had the opportunity to do the same. Now, let's go over the different aspects of this Murli. And I think I will also love to hear from you all. I did hear some of the conversations that happened in the previous session, and I'm sure many more wonderful conversations will arise in today's session as well. So as you know, the title of this Murli, the essence of the Murli is different tips to become a destroyer of attachment. In a way, the Murli is reminding us of the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which says that Dashto Moha Smriti Labda. That is, we have to become the destroyers of attachment. That's Dashto Moha. And Smriti Labda is embodiment of remembrance. Now one can keep arguing which comes first, whether being a destroyer of attachment comes first and then we become embodiments of remembrance, or it is the other way around. In a way, if you think about it deeply, these are all semantics. One comes along with the other. You can't have these as mutually exclusive concepts or states. They come together. And I like to see these as if they are two legs that we have and we are climbing this. So say the left leg is being the conqueror of attachment, and the right leg is being an embodiment of remembrance. So you maybe take the first step of trying to be an embodiment of remembrance. Then the next step is the left foot. So the left foot is being a conqueror of attachment. So being an embodiment of remembrance helps us become conquerors of attachment. And then being a conqueror of attachment helps us take the right foot or right leg up onto the next step. And that helps us become embodiments of remembrance. So each of these states potentiates the other one so that eventually we reach at the top of the stairs, the final destination, where both legs are there. So in a way, you cannot have the state of being a conqueror of attachment without being an embodiment of remembrance, nor can you have a state of being an embodiment of remembrance without being conquerors of attachment. So initially, Baba is taking the first aspect, and then he moves on to the second aspect. But first of all, what I like is that he is inspiring us to not see this as difficult, either becoming a conqueror of attachment or becoming embodiments of remembrance. Often we end up creating our own challenges. We end up making things more complicated and difficult. So Baba is reminding us that even in the world out there, they say that human soul or human potential is unlimited. So if you are a human soul, which we are, we can do the most fantastic, the most amazing things. That's the speciality of being a human. But we are really not humans. We are special human souls because we have God with us. God, who is the ultimate source of energy, the almighty authority, the most knowledgeful being, the ultimate everything. He's with us. He's holding our hands. He's taking us forward. So Those people in the world have the power of matter, but we have God's power working with us. So for sure, nothing is impossible on this planet anyways, but it's not difficult either for us. It may be difficult for the people out there, but for us, it's very simple. It's very easy. So this is clear, I guess, for everyone, that we, Papa's children, are not allowed, if you will. Yeah, it's unacceptable for us to say that it's difficult. Because if we say it's difficult, that means we haven't understood that who we are with, one, or we do not associate ourselves with Baba as closely as we should be. That's why we are not able to experience his help and to receive his power. So no more difficult, yeah, never impossible, but no more difficult either. And that's what Baba is saying, and I've underlined or I've highlighted this sentence: souls who have godly power can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and as they want. In any case, our wants are not like the worldly wants. They're not those unjustified, wrong wants. Our want is very pure. Our want is not just for uplifting the self, not just for taking us to a higher ground, but also helping the whole world to rise as well. We know Baba reminds us many times of the sentence that comes in Guru Granth Sahib, that Charti Kala Tere Bhane Sab Ka Bala. So somewhere in the back of the mind, we all have the consciousness that when we rise, the whole world rises. When we raise our consciousness and make it divine, the whole world gets transformed into golden age. Yes. So we remember our power, our potential. We remember that God is our companion, and so therefore nothing is impossible. All right. So this was the first aspect. Then the second, then he starts about first how we have to become destroyers of attachment. How we have to become destroyers of attachment. And so Baba is asking us, why is there attachment to anything physical, any person, or anything? Have you not yet experienced the difference between the things you see and the attainments of this alokik birth to be like that of day and night? So what we get from the world versus what we have experienced or experiencing in real time from this alokik birth of ours, it's a matter of day and night. There's just no comparison whatsoever. Have you not yet finished the experience of the sorrow and peacelessness, which is received through corporeal feelings, that is, through our worldly interactions? There's nothing but sorrow, nothing but peacelessness. However, the stark contrast, when we are with Baba, when we experience Baba's company, when we have all attainments from Baba, those attainments are so divine, unlimited, so precious, so powerful, so life-transforming, so fulfilling, right? So Baba is saying, so how can you have attachments to people? If we just understand this, then automatically all our attachments would go away. From there, we're getting nothing but sorrow and peacelessness. And here, we're getting nothing but the best of the best. So why do we still have attachment to those people who give us pain and suffering? And then Baba reminds us of the mirror. I think many of you were talking about this previous session, how we need to look inside ourselves. That people have the habit of looking in the mirror, but why not look into your mirror of self-respect? What is wrong? What is right? Where are we heading? Where do we need to move? All these things get very clear when we look into the mirror of our hearts. Mirror of Baba's knowledge, mirror of self-respect. So here Baba is saying, when you feel that there's something not quite right physically, by looking into the mirror, you are instantly able to put it right. So if your hair is all over the place, your face is not right or whatever, or your clothes are not buttoned up right, yeah, so then as soon as you look into the mirror, then you can fix yourself. So what is Baba saying? That in the same way, when you look at your true form in this alokik mirror and see that you have changed the form of wasteful thoughts, wasteful words, wasteful karma and relationships that you had when you came into body consciousness, from wasteful to powerful, then would there still be attachment? See, all of those wasteful things, wasteful words, wasteful thoughts, wasteful karma, relationships, when we were in body consciousness, have now been changed into the most powerful, the best. And why do we still have attachment? Then when you become a conqueror of attachment, then together with being a conqueror of attachment, you will automatically have constantly become an embodiment of remembrance. When there is no dependency whatsoever in the world, there's no attachment whatsoever. I like to see this attachment as dependency. And I invite you all to think of it from that way as well, especially for the newcomers. Many times people get afraid when they hear the word detachment or non-attachment or pardon me, letting go of attachment, because they relate attachment with love. But when you see attachment as dependency, then it becomes very clear. Am I dependent on anything or anyone other than Baba for any sort of fulfillment, peace, happiness, respect, regard, support? Then I will never remain fulfilled. Because no one on this planet, nothing on this planet or in this universe can ever deliver what we want, when we want, and as much as we want, 100% of times. In fact, they can't even deliver a fraction of what we want. And let's say even maybe they can deliver quite a bit, but there will never be consistency. There'll never be real reliability. But with Baba, if we make Baba as our only support, that all my dependency is on Baba, then Baba has the ability to be available all the time, 24/7, to be completely dependent, completely dependable and completely reliable. So in other words, every time, as much as we want, whenever we want, whatever we want, the only entity in this universe who can deliver that to us, hands down, is Baba. So therefore, it is important for us to have all our relationships and dependencies with Baba. So Baba is asking us, look into the mirror. If you look at your face, your attachment will finish. If you develop the practice of looking into the mirror, then developing this practice, even against your conscious wish, you'll be pulled towards the mirror. Many have the habit of looking into the mirror again and again in a physical way. They do not make a program for it, but they automatically move towards the mirror because they have that practice. Here also, if you continue to look into the mirror of knowledge, the mirror of your stage of self-respect, then from body consciousness, you'll easily be able to come into your stage of self-respect. Wherever or whenever there is lack of self-respect or loss of self-respect, then there is always a desire to find fulfillment in the world out there. Because somewhere the soul wants respect, somewhere the soul wants fulfillment. And so either we give it fulfillment from within, which comes through our connection with Baba, or we find fulfillment in the world out there. The more we try to search for fulfillment out there because of lack of fulfillment by our connection, our improper connection with Baba, inadequate connection with Baba, the more we will create dependency in the world. And that's what Baba talks about, that the less we are embodiments of remembrance, the more we will become attached to the world, or in other words, become less of conquerors of attachment, because there'll be more and more dependency in the world out there. So when you have all the attainments from the one, can you not be a satisfied soul through that? So am I taking all the attainments from Baba? All right, today I need peace. Baba, I want peace from you. I connect to Baba, take Baba's peace. I want love. I can take love from Baba. I want somebody to give me some good words, kind words. Yeah, Shwetank, you did good. A pat on the back. Asking that from Baba or from somewhere else. So if I ask from Baba, that I won't need it from anyone else. And if I ask from others, maybe they will give me once or twice. And when they give me once and twice, initially everybody, may get something from the world. That's where the connection happens in the world. That's where the dependency happens. So Baba is reminding us, always take whatever you want, you need from one Baba alone. When someone is lacking something, then he's not a satisfied soul. Do you not experience having all attainments? Have you not become a satisfied soul? Have any of these souls in so many births been able to give you that which the Father gives you now? See, Baba is giving everything that we want, everything that we need. Then I've highlighted this next sentence. In order to become the conquerors of attachment, now Baba is turning it around. So you understand it's a bifid approach. It's not mutually exclusive. These two come together in a way, in a package. We have to work on one hand on becoming embodiments of remembrance, that deep connection with Baba that will allow us to become conquerors of attachment. However, we also have to work on becoming conquerors of attachment so that we can become embodiments of remembrance. So now what Baba is saying here, in order to become conquerors of attachment, you see the first part was, how do you become an embodiment of remembrance? You work on being a conqueror of attachment. But now Baba is saying, in order to become a conqueror of attachment, you'll have to change your form to become the embodiment of remembrance. And then, interestingly, what happens is we always keep giving excuses that I have responsibilities in the world. I have to take care of family, I have to take care of work, I have to take care of so many different things. So what Baba is giving us this very nice very nice understanding that all that is limited responsibility. But we all have an unlimited responsibility too. We're all children of God. This whole world is our brother and sisters, right? Or everyone on this planet. So we have been bestowed with, endowed with God's knowledge, God's wisdom, which has helped us connect to God himself in a very intimate way, personal way, constantly, which allows us to get all the peace, happiness, and energy we need. But it is incumbent on us now to pass this message along to others, to serve others, to help others, to support others. And that's the unlimited responsibility. So when we remember, or when we remind ourselves of the unlimited responsibility that's on our head, then the dependency or the pull, if you will, towards limited responsibilities will also reduce. In a way, what Baba is telling us, then, to very interesting thing, to the extent that you use your time and thoughts in order to fulfill the limited responsibilities, instead of fulfilling them, you actually spoil them. We see that all the time. The more we try to help people around us, parents are doing so much for children. Here in the US, we see parents going really crazy after children, trying to give them the best of the best gadgets, the best opportunities, so many activities. Like slaves, they run around trying to take the children from one activity to the other, want the children to be the best singers, the best dancers, to best, I don't know, everything on this planet. And in this whole process, it's a very interesting thing when you see it from outside. You see how the children are not able to grow. They are totally boxed into these very strange, paradigms where they're not able to experience the joy of childhood, the joy of, growing up the way a childhood should be. And so instead of actually helping when we are stuck in limited responsibilities, we find that we actually spoil them home. Although you may think that you're fulfilling your responsibilities and looking after your duties, that is not really fulfilling and looking for after them. Because of staying in a limited awareness, instead of becoming instruments to create the fortune of the souls, you become instruments to spoil their fortune. One of the things we realize that, we have in Baba's home here, we have lots of home plants, indoor plants. And we initially, when we started having these, we would find that very frequently these plants would die. And we couldn't understand what is going on. And later, the few months, few years later, there was someone who really knew about gardening and home plants and all, said actually the worst thing you can do, and the reason why your plants don't live well, is because you're giving too much water. One of the worst things you can do for the plants is give too much water. But also then I realized that I used to bring the plant food sticks we get in the US that has urea or some other things, some nutrition for the plants. And so I was giving it lavishly. So in these small plants, I would put 2 sticks maybe. And this person who really knew about gardening told me, actually, when you put more of these sticks, the urea, there's so much of strong urea, so much of strong nitrogen in it that it destroys the roots. So you can't give the plants too much water. You can't give the plants too much of nutrition. So when we overdo, we actually kill whatever we are trying to take care of. So here Baba is reminding us that when we stay in limited consciousness, we actually spoil their fortune. Then because those souls do not see your alokik behavior, they are deprived of forging a relationship with the alokik Father. Deep, deep stuff. Because when we are stuck in limited responsibilities, our stage also becomes lokik. One of the things that I have realized is that, just like what I was saying earlier, how we can, there's a phrase in the West, we say that make yourself scarce. I don't know if most people here have joined from India, but if you've heard that, make yourself scarce. What does that mean? That you shouldn't be that available. In other words, like, just to explain this further, many times we are so available for people around us that it actually is counterproductive. So when we are in unlimited consciousness, when we are thinking about unlimited responsibilities that we have actually towards the whole world, then automatically we'll become little scarce for people around us. And this will actually help them grow, become more independent, become more strong. And also they will be inspired when they see our progress, our growth, our desire to rise to the next level, for them to also rise to the next level, that will be their inspiration. So making ourselves less available, making ourselves scarce. I don't know if you've heard also that many times when you have a tree and you're trying to grow small plant underneath the tree, the small plant never grows. We had here in Baba's home in the backyard grass that we had, we had sown seeds and we created a space where we had some grass. And the grass, because of the tree and the tree's shade, the grass would never grow in that area. So then we had to change that into gravel and stones, because we realized that how much ever we make effort to grow grass in that area, because of the dense trees, those no sunlight will come and the grass will all die. I know there are some other types of grass which can grow in less sunlight, but in general, most grass needs sunlight. So when we are too dominating, and which happens automatically when we are constantly available, physically, mentally, and in all of the different ways, financially, then we actually cripple people around us by our extreme availability. So hopefully this is making sense. And so although you may think that you're fulfilling your responsibilities and looking after your duties, that is not fulfilling and looking after them, because if you're staying in a limited awareness, instead of becoming instruments to create the fortune of those souls, you become instruments to spoil their fortune. Then because those souls do not see your alokik behavior, they're deprived of forging a relationship with the alokik Father. And then instead of fulfilling your duties, you bring a sickness onto yourself. And that sickness is the sickness of attachment, which then spreads to others. I'm a householder, I have this bondage, I have this responsibility. Nowadays, nobody says I have this bondage. Now they say I have responsibilities. Yeah, it's all semantics. It's the same thing, really. So I have no responsibility. I have a larger responsibility. And all right, so I see that Sister Raki has for this extreme availability. Yes. Yeah, so I like that other word, to make yourself scarce. How can I make myself scarce? Now, if say Kanishta needs me many times, say for something, and I go and sit in Baba's room and meditate. No, this is my time for meditation. I've realized that, say if she's trying to prepare a PowerPoint for her talk and she wants to take an advice, and say I'm not available for her because I'm now in Baba's remembrance and I'm sending vibrations to the world, I find that she will do her PowerPoint on her own, and it actually comes out way better than when I would be there available to help her. So then it's almost as if I've realized that I've found that it actually works in a counterproductive way, because then my thoughts get mixed with hers and her thoughts don't come out as clean as they should have. So if that makes sense, I just wanted to give an example of how by our becoming scarce actually helps the other person more. And I also see here, that's what Baba is saying, they're able to forge a better relationship with the alokik Father because you are there. So then they want you, and they don't even think of forging a relationship with the alokik Father. And the problem is that it is highly unlikely that you'll be available for them all the time. So when you're not available, then they'll be lost, they'll be disappointed. It can be a very scary situation for them. So while it is the right opportunity in the right control situation, the more scarce we become, the better relationship they can forge with Baba. And this will help them in the real times of need when you are not available. So what Baba is saying, so constantly make this effort to transform this awareness. I am a householder, I have responsibilities, and so on and so forth. And you all heard, think of these 5 forms to keep in your awareness. These are different from the 5 forms that we are traditionally, we traditionally practice. So yeah, please use these. I'm a child, I'm a godly student, I'm a spiritual pilgrim, I'm a warrior, I'm a godly helper. So you're welcome to take any other form. These are self-respect points, these are forms. But what it does again is that it kind of preoccupies you in doing this. The more you're preoccupied here, the more scarce you will be for other people. Otherwise, constantly you're thinking about others, and we're trying to, when we think about others, and wherever your thoughts go, your energy flows. So when I'm thinking, say, of my family members, my energy will start flowing to them. And so this energy of mine will deprive them or will cause interference in their connecting to the Alokik Father. So the less I'm available, the more they will be able to connect to the Alokik Father. Yeah, and then you can go on to thinking of how at different times you can be each of these forms. But eventually, Baba is reminding us that at the end, by us becoming conquerors of attachment, we become embodiments of remembrance. And by becoming embodiments of remembrance, we become conquerors of attachment. So that's why Baba has this beautiful salutations to those who become the embodiments of remembrance from being forgetful. So we forget what we should remember, we remember what we need to forget. So we have been forgetful for a long, long time. And even as we are Baba's children, we come, we listen to Murlis, we do meditation, so on and so forth. But yet we become forgetful very quickly. So in 1 second, Baba wants us to become an embodiment of remembrance from being forgetful. To the souls who are conquerors of attachment and are constantly the embodiments of remembrance. To the powerful souls, love, remembrance, and namaste from Baba. Yes. So what a beautiful salutations. So I can pause now. I would love to hear from all of you if you would like to speak. I'm so sorry. Very nice. So feel free to say something if you would like to. If you want to ask something, that's okay too. Short Murli, very meaningful Murli, very deep. This is interesting. Just like everything else in what Baba is teaching us, without knowledge, there's no yoga. Without yoga, there's no knowledge. So knowledge helps yoga. Yoga helps knowledge. Everything works together. It's a multi-pronged approach. You take one step here, one step here, one step here. Any of the steps are lagging behind. It's like 4 wheels of the car, or sometimes you see these trucks which have, like, I don't know, 20, 24 wheels. So all of them have to work properly, and eventually the truck reaches its destination. So we have to do this multi-pronged approach, doing everything at the same time, right? If no one has anything to say, yes, Rachna.
Oh, Shanti, am I audible?
Yes. Is that,
okay. Yeah. Brother, you just spoke out a sentence that here in US, all the moms are very busy taking their children to this class, that class, and everything. So, what is your opinion about that? Like, we feel that this is what we give them, the basic this is the seed we sow for them, like, at this age they need to learn all these things and all. If we just put them, leave them alone, they'll never learn anything. So is it right or wrong?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good question. How much is enough? It's a question that one has to ask himself or herself. A lot of what we are doing in the West or in the world now is ego-driven. It's for our own self. So often, you will see the parents so full of it, if you will, that, my son so my daughter can sing like Lata Mangeshkar, dance like whatever, jump in the air 20 times and come down like a bird, or fly like a bird and swim like a fish. So it's when you will hear them say, it clearly kind of feels that it is not that they're doing it for the children, it's doing it for themselves, so that they can prove to the world that they are very good parents and they're providing everything. And also it's a sense, it then validates their own importance, if you will, that, I feel that my child will love me more, and that I did so much for the child, and even the child will see me as a good parent eventually. The child did this, and this. So these things one has to examine themselves and find the answers themselves. I just want to share that I found it very interesting that in some of these
Om
Norwegian,
Shanti Shwetankubai.
yeah,
Girijaben, he is answering one question. Can you speak later?
yeah, I'll just share just a small point, and then am I audible
Om
now?
Shanti.
Yes.
Yes, you're audible, brother.
I think Girjaben is not able to hear. Maybe yes, Girjaben, are you able to hear? I think her connection is. So I was just sharing that one of these Norwegian countries, they have changed the way they raise kids for many years now. What they're trying to do is, instead of boxing children into these norms of the quote unquote, I think she's not able to hear. That's why she's saying she disconnected. I think something's wrong with the internet. But anyway, so I'll continue. So, and what they're saying is that they're letting the children just play, and so of course in a controlled fashion, not like 24/7 they're playing, but play in the playground, give them simple things to play with, and therein automatically the child learns what needs to learn. And of course what happens is children will automatically, spontaneously will reveal their interests, reveal their talents. There is one child I know who never went to any drawing class or anything of that sort. And she does such amazing sketches. She's about 13, 14 years old now, but she does these amazing sketches of Baba and, Brahma, Baba, Mama. So in a way, the talent has revealed itself, and that we can do. But when you see people the way, morning football, afternoon soccer, cricket, evening singing, to next day dancing, and in that whole process, what I see is that, one, the children are totally exhausted. The second, we see that the parents are totally exhausted. So when the parents come home, the interaction between parents and children is so toxic because now both are exhausted. And now you judge for yourself that what do you think, is it productive for the child or counterproductive? Or not just for the child, is it productive for the entire family, the energy of the family, the house, or it's not? And if you still feel that it is still productive, then so be it. Please do what works best for you. But I was just sharing how in today's world, it has become a very strange kind of thing. It's the same argument of how many cars, how many houses. Eventually, everyone has to find their own Zen. If maybe some person needs 10 cars to find fulfillment, then so be it. But eventually we have to discover for ourselves, realize for ourselves that how Baba is teaching us that we can't find fulfillment in any of these things. Fulfilling our responsibilities is most of the times, or just doing the basic people, that's what people say, is merely an excuse to, in a way, how do I put it, justify their attachments and justify their greed. I don't know, hopefully I've answered that.
Yes, very true, brother. But still, there is something in my mind, like we need to give some at least basic things for our children. Or I suppose like what I did for my children is whenever we were in a joint family, and most of the time there would be only the TV would have been switched on with all sorts of serials, this thing, that thing, all elderly, the serials which elderly people look. So I didn't want my children to be in that atmosphere. So I used to take them, and I just found out what their interest is, and I used to put them to such classes. So I just wanted to know whether is it right
So
or.
that's good. That's very good. You actually did a very smart thing. Then they were watching television. Then that's not a good thing. Many times what also happens here that I see, parents don't want to spend time with children. And so they want to do their own thing. They want to, be on social media and this and that. So then they see, how do we engage the child? So either the child also will get stuck onto watching television and doing other things, or we send them to activities. And now they send them to activities, but then they have to drive the children around, because unlike India, you don't get transportation. So then they become slaves of their own doings, and they get stuck in that, right?
Because
So
only when we okay, yeah, carry on.
No, you carry on, please.
Because only when we push our children to the water, we will know whether they are interested in swimming or not, right? So that was my.
True. But also, do we really need to push them? So this is what I've been sharing, and you're welcome to take it in whatever way, in a good way, and think about it later. But let's say, you think of it from the larger picture point of view. Eventually, we Baba's children really know that this whole world cycle is going to turn. You're all going to go back home, and the golden age is coming. Now, we don't know when exactly that's going to happen, but deep inside, if we have really understood this, that the last moments are around the corner. Now you think of it for a moment. Just this is something which I tell to some of those people who are very close to me, and I know they won't feel bad, but today I'm speaking in this group, and I hope you don't take it in any wrong way. But think of it, let's say your child is the best singer on this planet. You have taught this person singing 24/7 now. She or he is the best singer, best dancer, best football player, best cricketer, whatever. The last moments when the tsunami wave is coming, what will help the soul? Singing, dancing, soccer, cricket, or their connection with Baba? So the more we engage them in that, more we engage them in all that. Of course, little bit. It's understandable. Again, that's sort of, we have to find the right balance for ourselves. Every person is different. Every situation is different. Every family is different. But the more we engage them in that, the less we will have them. In other words, give them the opportunity to connect to Baba. And the less they will be equipped at the end to save themselves. Now, when the real tsunami is coming, this big wave of 25 feet height, Will their singing help? Will their dancing help? Will their football help? Or will their connection with Baba help them?
Very nice. Very nice, brother. Thank you.
Lakshnadan, you wanted to share something? You raise your hand.
Om Shanti, brother. Thank you for your wonderful sharing. This Murli was really stirred a lot of churning about the understanding of attachment. My question is that we have five vices, main five vices. And in many of the Murlis, Baba says lust is the greatest enemy, and then comes anger. And then when we talk about love, when we say that, then we say that when love is not perceived as unconditional, that is attachment, one general definition that one understands. From this Murli or otherwise in general, why do you think that of all the vices, attachment has been chosen or is a part of the final question that is common for all of us, whether we are in Gyan or we are not in Gyan? It is our last thoughts that lead to our destination, and that is associated with the vice moh. So what is your understanding? Why is moh chosen in the final question? Thank you.
That's a lovely question, actually, Rachnaben. Yeah, really lovely question. But you see, if you deeply dissect this, it is really the same energy, whether you call it lust or attachment or anger or greed. They're all the same, really. It is, in a way, expressing itself in different forms. So whether you say at last moments, conquer of attachment or conquer of greed or conquer of that, it's all really at the end semantics. You cannot be free of attachment unless you have worked with all these individually and collectively. So in a way, even if it was written as conqueror of lust, and then that's what Baba says many times, Kam jeet to jagat jeet. So different times, different things. It keeps the mind busy, it gives variety to our understanding and churning, but it's the same thing. If Baba has said, Nashto moha ke bajai, said conqueror of greed and embodiment of remembrance, conqueror of lust and embodiment of remembrance, it's pretty much the same thing, if that makes sense. But greed, many times you will realize that these gross forms of greed and lust, they go away. But these subtle forms of attachment that we have still linger on, if you will. But of course, again, there is a little bit element of lust and greed and anger also interconnected with that attachment. But that attachment then becomes an impediment in our having total and clear connection with Baba. Final moments will lead us to the destination. And if in the final moments there's interference because of attachment or anything else, or anger. You see, anger also comes from attachment. Attachment comes from anger. Everything is interrelated. Greed comes from attachment. So many things, everything comes from each other. And so Baba sometimes says body consciousness is the most important. Baba sometimes says lust is the biggest thing. So it's all interconnected. They really are not five different things. It's just the same energy or lack thereof. You see, in a way, vices, there is no entity like vices, really. These are all absence of virtues. Just like there is no darkness, there is nothing like darkness. It is just absence of light. So it's all semantics, I feel. But yes, you can look at it as if attachment is very difficult to get rid of, and that becomes the last examination for us. Yeah, body conscious, everything is linked to body consciousness. So Baba could have very well said, conquer our body consciousness and embodiment of remembrance. That would have been an all-encompassing phrase. Yeah, Rachna Ben, good enough. But beautiful question. I think.
I also keep wondering, because when we say for the virtues, we say purity is the mother of peace and happiness. So for vices, can we say attachment is the mother of all the vices? Because the attachment starts with the wrong identification of us with the body. I mean,
Beautiful.
why
Yes,
is it such a difficult paper? I mean, that also I keep wondering. It definitely is the most difficult question. That is why it's a part of the final question and only one single question. And it's not different for all of us, because we have vices in different degrees, and we keep facing small questions or examinations in our lives pertaining attacking our strength or the weakness that we have. So our small papers that we face are relating to all the different vices, but our final question paper is only attachment.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, it looks like that. But I congratulate you for thinking so deeply. And yeah,
Just
here's
adding on to this.
Thank you so much, Mother. Thank you.
Just adding on to what Rachna Ben said, the most difficult paper is attachment, maybe because the biggest attachment is the attachment with our own body. Forget about any other attachment otherwise. So maybe that's the first paper that one needs to conquer, with what I was getting while the sharing was going on. Om Shanti.
awesome, Rakhi Ben. Awesome. Yes, yes. I'm sorry, I'm not able to look at many of these points that are coming up. Here says, I guess attachment is most difficult to conquer. It is a vice that perhaps gives the most sorrow and pain, because humans are so emotionally entangled, and maybe that's why human emotions are complicated to decipher after all. Yeah, so true. Each linked to body consciousness. Won't be incorrect to say that. Yes, beautiful. I agree, 100%, 100%. I congratulate you for such insights. So somebody saying something. Yes, Rakhi.
Bijit Bhai wanted to speak something, and then Girija Ben. So Bijit Bhai, you can take up, and then Girija Ben can ask.
Sure thing.
Thank you, brother, for the wonderful enlightening class. It's helping a lot. So this attachment is something, it's like we all are trapped in a web, and our effort is to break away this web and then come out of it, right? So isn't it the easy practice that one must do to see ourselves as guest, where our complete consciousness, right, will change, that we are, we don't belong here. Because guest will have that awareness all the time that, I don't belong here and I'm always free, and I one day have to exist. And this awareness is constantly maintained, right? When we have this awareness that I'm a guest to this world. And I, if we look at it, how this attachment we got, right? I mean, I was joining this, and then suddenly this thought came to me that in another class where I heard this. So we came to this world and slowly began to experience all this like a guest, just like any other guest who's going to a house and then staying there. And the people who are owning that house asking this guest to look after this house when they are going out, or they are going somewhere for sightseeing for few weeks. And then this guest is started to look after the house. And then when the real owners come back after the vacation, and these guests started to claim that this is my house, and then because I've been looking after this, while looking after the house, he created that desire within himself, that slowly also forgot that this is not something, this house doesn't belong to him. So the real honor will be coming. So we have similarly, we have been living in this world for a long time, and then slowly we started to claim by labeling that, this is mine. So actually the root cause is mine. The more we make things label mine or mine, so that's where the attachment comes in. Brother, you can throw more lights onto it. Thank you.
So I agree with you, and that's why Baba gives many different things for us to churn on. Being a traveler, being a guest, there's so many aspects. Over time, Baba helps us try to free ourselves of attachment. So yes, I appreciate what you're saying, and I think Balwinder Ben is asking questions. But before that, somebody else, right? Raki Ben, you said somebody else was supposed to say or ask something.
Girijavan has unmuted herself. Sister, if you can speak, it'll be good.
Okay, am I heard? Because I don't know, it just shifts here
Yes,
and there.
we can hear you. We can
Okay,
hear
let
you.
me make it short in this because I don't know when the power will go. Just to say, I don't believe attachment should be removed. It's a beautiful thing. I would just like to control it, conquer it, see that it doesn't go and put me in permanent gum with anything. Let it be any of the vices. Otherwise, even attaching with Baba is beautiful. So that's why Baba immediately gave the thing, remember Baba. Attachment of that body thing, even in yesterday's Murli, Baba said, how to do it. This body, don't say, oh, it is a puppet of clay, let it finish. No, give it importance. So I don't feel I should leave attachment. I should conquer it. I should control it. I should know how to use it beautifully. Because whatever is given to you, if it's given by God, how can you have attachment? Nothing belongs to you. You don't owe, you own nothing, you lose nothing. I think that one concept is what I have to remember. I don't know if I was heard.
Yeah, very nice, Girijavan. Very nice. Thank you for your insight. Here, Balwinder Ben is asking, what is the point to get married and going through the horrible pain and wasting our priceless energy in conquering these vices? Isn't it wise to not get married and not having children? Beautiful. I think both paths have advantages and disadvantages. I do not understand, getting more confused. No, but wherever you are, Balwinder Ben, that's the best thing that you are in. That's the role that you have. So for those who are not married, it's best not to get married. What's the big deal? People nowadays, even in the world, are preferring not to get married. In fact, there are countries in the world where the government is ready to pay a lot of money so that people actually get married. And they're also, like Japan, for example, they're paying a lot of money to get children, for them to have children. So people in the world are realizing that at this time, bringing children into a world which is so negative, which is so toxic, really, what's the point? But if you are married, then that's also good in a way that you now have the opportunity to actually serve your partner. And say, if you're married and have children, now this is the opportunity for you to now serve your spouse and children as well, and take them to higher ground with yourself. So you have ready-made, in a way, quote unquote, guinea pigs, if you will, where you can actually experiment with Baba's knowledge. So instead of having to go outside somewhere, your house becomes an experiment lab where you can see how you can actually apply Baba's knowledge, which is totally practical spirituality with your family members, your spouse, and your children. Okay, so don't feel bad wherever you are. You're good. Don't feel that I wish I had not married or I wish I didn't have children, because a lot of energy gets wasted in that. You got married for a reason, for a purpose. You have children for a reason, for a purpose. If you didn't, that's great. If you have, that's great too. Okay, good. All right. And so I think it is time to end. I don't want to go beyond time. I hand it over to Raki Ben. Raki Ben, all yours.
Before we close, Shvetangbai, we invite you to take a quick small meditation.
Yes, dear sister. So very simply, let's see ourselves as conquerors of attachment. Just like Baba said, let's free ourselves from these questions and thoughts. This is my responsibility. This is my household. I am a householder, and so on and so forth. Just see yourself engaged in the unlimited responsibility of world service. You're Baba's chosen one. Baba has handpicked you among millions. And now he's grooming you gently so that you can become ready and prepared to serve the whole world. So hold the consciousness that you are a world server doing unlimited service. What an honor, what a privilege. And as you become conqueror of attachment, see your connection with Baba becoming clear and intense. And through that connection, see Baba's energy begin to flow into you, helping you reach your final stage, your complete stage. And the more you're having this experience of an intimate communion with Baba, the more your needs are getting fulfilled. Slowly, all your dependency is now with Baba. And as you begin to feel full and complete, all your attachments are beginning to loosen up. See that happening in front of you. These attachments give us pain, give us suffering. So your state of being an embodiment of remembrance, connection with one Baba, clean and clear, is helping you free yourself from all your attachments, freeing you from all pain, suffering, and misery. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Shvetangbai. Thank you, Divine Family. It was a wonderful, practical approach to how to conquer attachment. We look forward to have a few more sessions with you soon, Shvetangbai. All of us will meet tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. again. Om Shanti.
Oh, my honor, my pleasure, dear sister.
Thank you, brother.